Hi there. So today I'm going to bring you another music theory word from the New Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians. This is again from volume 9, just like the word I brought last week. And the word for today is improvisation. Improvisation. This is a lengthy section in here. I'll just read the first paragraph or so. Improvisation is the creation of a musical work or the final form of a musical work as it is being performed. It may involve the work's immediate composition by its performers, or the elaboration or adjustment of an existing framework, or anything in between. Let me read that again. Improvisation is the creation of a musical work, or the final form of a musical work, as it is being performed. It may involve the work's immediate composition by its performers, or the elaboration or adjustment of an existing framework, or anything in between. Now there's different ways to explain and demonstrate improvisation. I'll just use two main ideas and go from there. The first main idea is that improvisation is not new. Many people believe that improvisation was introduced by jazz. Now it's true that jazz musicians are very good improvisers, and it's true that jazz music uses a lot of improvisation, but it is not true that improvisation was introduced by jazz. In fact, the dictionary here spends quite a lot of time talking about different composers from different historical periods that were great improvisers. We know that Bach was a great improviser. We know that Mozart was a great improviser. We know that Chopin, the great Polish piano composer, played a lot of his songs live in a piano lounge setting, and only later sat down to write down what he actually played. So improvisation is not new. It's been there for a long, long time. In fact, common sense would tell us that improvisation was there even before music notation was there, because it's quite intuitive for a musician to just figure out what to play before he or she would take the time to write it out on a piece of paper. The second main idea I'd like to share is that improvisation is not playing any random notes. Improvisation must be based, as they put it in the definition here, it must be based on some kind of pre-existing framework. Now that framework could be a harmonic framework or rhythmic framework, or maybe a melodic sequence idea, but it must be based on some pre-existing framework. That's especially important when we play with other musicians in a jam session where everybody's improvising, but if we don't know where the song is going, we might end up playing things that don't sound good together. Kind of like four people having a conversation in four different languages, and nobody understands each other, nobody understands anybody. So we must have a basic idea, at least, of where the song is going harmonically, rhythmically, melodically. For example, in the little improvisation line that I played at the beginning of the video, I played an ascending line and a descending line, and that whole thing was based on two chords, an A minor chord and an E7 chord. And almost every note in those two sequences were based on those two chords. Here's the ascending line, based mostly on an A minor. And the descending line, the descending sequence, was mostly based on a E7 chord. Something like this, if I can remember it correctly. So those are the two chords I was thinking of before playing those actual notes. Now, one little comment about mistakes when you improvise, or landing on the wrong note, on a note that sounds wrong or out of place. And Victor Wooten talks about this a lot. He's the great bass player. If you don't know him, you should check him out. And at least a couple of times I heard him talking about taking those wrong notes you might land on and using them as an opportunity to explore a different harmonic place for a measure to, and then get back to what's been pre-established in your improvisation. For example, when I play my ascending sequence right here, let's say that I make a mistake and my slide from G sharp to B ends up being 1 fret short. So I land on a B flat instead, which initially would sound like a mistake, like a wrong note. Alright, so what I can do there is I can take that note, it's a B flat, and maybe do something like this. And I ended up back where I started. So again. So what I did there was I landed on a B flat by accident, sort of, and I just built a descending arpeggio on that note, a B flat, a descending B flat arpeggio, and then A, G sharp, which brings me back to my E chord. So maybe something like this. Alright, so improvisation is not new. It's been around forever. And improvisation should be based on some pre-existing framework. Give this a try. Come up with your own things. If you have any questions, ask at the bottom of the video. If you like the video, please click the like button. If you can subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's a little bit helpful at least. And see you in the next video. Thanks.